It's too close, no? You see, there's some place behind the table will go, no? After that, then you can move. The chair is still empty.
Just give me one last
Anyway, no, this makes me feel like 9. Okay?
Piece for Mrs. Balsekar. We'll give you a piece for Mrs. Balsekar. You like to give it to her first, right?
All right. No,
Yeah.
Coming in a minute.
I'll be back after you finish eating.
Suggest that if they say avoid some wedding, then take it after that. Just suggest it, then you see how it is. This table is a little more available.
That was it. I was hesitating, so if I cry, please come here.
It's too mic benign.
Someone change the chairs and put. Okay, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to hear others talk. The first two are supposed to be Wayne and Jackie from now. So whoever changed the chairs, let them change them back again. Yes, these are the two chairs. Change them. Facing the other way. Yeah.
I'm going back there in a minute. then you can sit in my seat. How's that?
No, Wayne, would you change the chairs facing the other way?
All right. The other side. Okay.
Facing them. Yeah. Facing. I don't want them talking to me. I want talking to others. Hello, Bobby. You know, there's a program here Saturday evenings on the TV.
Yeah.
Called The Big Fight.
The big fight.
Yeah. First they say you talk for 5 minutes.
Yes.
He ends up saying you have 30 seconds. So now let's say 10 minutes each.
But we have 30 seconds?
10 minutes each.
10 minutes each. Would you like to time me?
No. Dave, you don't mind talking, do you? No, good. But
Next to the
when your
flowers.
turn comes, don't fall out of the window. Yes, Wayne. I don't think I need to introduce Wayne, not Jackie. Jackie is what makes Wayne successful.
Did somebody write that down?
Well, we've all come for the same reason, of course. And that is to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the event of the birth of our guru, Ramesh. And coming from the West and having a lot of friends who are not spiritual seekers, it's very difficult for me to explain to them what it means to have a guru. In fact, it really is impossible. It's one of those things that if you've experienced it, if you know it, there is no words possible that can capture it. And if you've never had that experience, if you don't know what that is, you can talk for a year and never be able to communicate it. So the fact that you are here means that you know the unmitigated joy of having found your guru. To me, it is one of life's greatest blessings.
20 years now.
20 years. I've had a lot of love in my life. I've been very blessed. I've had
Look, 10 minutes is a joke.
10 minutes is what?
It was a joke.
You mean I have two?
You don't have to restrict yourself. Make it 100 minutes.
No. I'm sure there are many of you here who would like to express your feelings about Ramesh, and so I'll just take a few minutes to set things rolling, I suppose. But having experienced love in my life with my parents, and I've been blessed to have the love of several wonderful women in my life. I have two tremendous children who I love very deeply. And so I have all of these kinds of profound relationships, these amazing love relationships in my life. But the guru-disciple relationship, that connection that one has with one's guru, knows no other. It is unique of all of those relationships. When I met Ramesh, something was revealed to me about life and living, about what it is to be, that I never imagined possible. And that revelation has transformed me and transformed everything. So not only does my heart break open, but enormous gratitude wells up inside me whenever I think of Ramesh, for the gifts so freely given to me, without anything ever being demanded in return. I've literally been given everything and been asked for nothing. And I've never found that anywhere else in my life. And so it draws me back here again and again whenever I can come to be with you.
Don't forget to add, although you hate Bombay.
I do not hate Bombay. It is simply that Bombay is not at the very top of my vacation list.
It comes right down there. I don't blame you either.
But Bombay has you, Ramesh, and nowhere else in the world does, and that brings me back here again and again. I think what we'll do today, it's Ramesh's wish, is that Jackie will talk for a few minutes, and then
10, 15 minutes.
10, 20, 30. And then who else is?
I'll come. If they
A few
don't-
other people, and then
If they don't come, I'll summon them.
aha! All right. So
Jackie, when did you start?
Start coming to see you
Yeah.
18 years ago. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's where I first met Wayne. So that is the first thing I have to thank
So
you for.
I am the guilty party.
You're the guilty person. And most days I thank you.
You have known Wayne for 18 years.
18 years, yes. And when Ramesh first mentioned this morning that I might have an opportunity to speak, first of all, I was terrified. Because it seems like an enormous assignment to possibly express what it has meant to have Ramesh in my life. And I knew I'd do this. Have difficulty with it. But I have thought about it for a moment, and the only word that comes to me that sums up absolutely everything that it has meant is gratitude. I hope that I would have been a naturally grateful person. I like to think that that was my nature. I'm not so sure. But since I met Ramesh, there is something which started in my heart the first moment I heard his voice. I had a friend who wanted me to go and see Ramesh, and he gave me a copy of I Am That to read. And I read it and I thought, oh, I don't know, I'm not so sure. I just didn't really feel it. And then he invited me to his house for dinner and said, well, you have to come and listen to these audio tapes. And he had an audio tape of Ramesh. This is 19 years ago. And he put this tape in, and the moment I heard his voice, something happened that was a sense of that was as close in my life as I would ever be to what you would describe as truth. And then I met Ramesh, and of course I just fell in love with the man, which everyone in this room understands. And so I feel every day in my life an immense gratitude for that experience. And as an example of how that sort of comes through in your life, my daughter is 28 and she has never met Ramesh, and she called me the day before I left to come here to send her birthday wishes to Ramesh, because even though she has never met him and she has not read anything that he writes, but this is not her area of interest, she has seen in me something about the love that I have for him, and it has somehow touched her life. And I think that's what happens, even though we don't realize it. When we have this love in our life and this experience, somehow it seeds everyone that we come in contact with. So I think that's my 30 seconds. And I thank you all, because I automatically absolutely adore everyone who loves Ramesh. I can't help it, and when I see people loving him, it just makes me fill up. So thank you to all of you as well. And thank you, Ramesh.
So, Nacho, would you like to? Come. Dave, would you like to? Good. Yes, Nacho. Go ahead.
Hello. Well, it's not easy to speak here in front of so many people about Ramesh. We are all here because it's a question of love to be here, of devotion, and of gratitude for Ramesh. He has put some immense light on the old teachings, and many of us have understood by the way Ramesh explains the teachings.
Nacho you don't know. I have to introduce Nacho to you. Nacho is the man who came here when my wife was seriously ill in the hospital, in the ICU, and for several days. And it was obvious that it's going to be a an expensive affair. The very first day Nacho comes here, that 12 years ago I think,
12 years.
1978.
Yes. 1997.
No, 1995.
95, 96.
I was 78.
More or less. Yeah.
I remember, you know why?
What?
At that time I had a pain in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to the hospital and on that machine.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman the nurse said taking down because they wanted a freedom from any lawsuit against the hospital if something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted a signature from me. So she was writing down and she said, how old are you? I said, 78. She said, oh my God. So I had to go on that walking. Oh my God. That's why I 78 in mind. So I said 78 in 2007. So it's not 78 plus 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 95 then.
95.
So it's 12 years.
12 years, yes.
You have been here 12 years. That was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing Nacho didn't even know me.
No.
The very first day, Nacho is the man who comes walking into my bedroom, gives me a wonderful smile, and he says, I hear your wife is in the hospital, so I think this will help you a little bit. And he gives me an envelope which contains 3,500 American dollars. He didn't even know me. You don't remember that possibly.
Yeah.
You did give me an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know whether it contained $8,000.
No. I thought it was rupees.
If you knew there were dollars, and that is what I call my destiny. So that was Nacho. What I mean is such a generous man by nature. You can't create a generous man.
No, it's not my nature. Yeah.
Therefore I keep on saying, a generous man didn't choose to be a generous man.
No.
More, a miser didn't choose to be a miser either.
Yeah.
Therefore don't admire a generous man and hate a miser.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't choose to be a miser either. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So
12 years, yes.
yeah.
But what brought you here at that time? I still don't
I was
know.
visiting Ramana Ashram, and I met someone, a Spaniard, who was only traveling around India, and he sat there, but he was not interested in Ramana, neither in the teachings, in nothing. And he told me, why don't you go to meet Balsekar in Bombay? That's the way I arrived here.
So in these 12 years now, what's happened?
Well, in these 12 years, what happened that
You met
I
Wayne.
met Wayne, and through this teaching I can say that I was a miserable seeker, and now I am only a seeker. And the misery has gone through the lights that Ramesh.
Now that's interesting. You said misery is gone.
It's gone, yeah.
So what, can you explain that a little bit, Nacho?
Well, before there was a pulling for the seeking to understand, to try to grab, and now there is it's just an easy going with life, and there is no more misery, and there is peace and harmony.
Tell them. Now, in actual daily living,
Yes.
can you explain how that change has happened?
Well, the change is that
In daily living, can you take 2 or 3 examples and say, otherwise that would have happened, now this happened, which means
let's say that
happiness.
now there is no more suffering in a way. Things happen, there are good things, there are, let's say, disgusting things, but the acceptance of what happened is almost present, and life is much easier in a way, and joyful. That's it. Yeah. So I only have to thank Ramesh and his teaching and his loving energy
Yes.
for all these things.
Now, Dev
Yes.
is one of the who has been very, very generous in giving his donation. You see, I always say, I'm concerned how deep is the impact. How deep is the impact of what I say? The only way the impact brings uncontrollable laughter. That also, it brings uncontrollable laughter. With tears, it brings uncontrollable sobbing with tears. Now that is something quite clear that the impact has been there. Particularly where someone is an achiever and is not supposed to, his conditioning is not supposed to pass, and then he achieves it. That is the impact of the teaching. That is visible. The only other way I can understand that is the extent of his gift to me. That's the only way I can see the depth of the innocence. So someone who doesn't have the money, the gifts are, the greatest gift is the way he uncontrollable tears. Sometimes there's both. Sometimes there's both. And Dev has been one of those who has been both. Very, very generous.
And the most beautiful thing is it comes with almost with a zero coefficient of friction.
And I'll
It
tell
just
you
happens.
how he asked me only one question. He listened. In fact, I don't even know how many times he had come here before he asked me that one question. For him, that was one question. He is a businessman. So he asked me only one. Ramesh, I have only one question for you. Does your teaching work in commerce? Remember?
Yes.
That was his only question. Does your teaching work in commerce? And I told him a story of what I said, it's no use, man. I'll tell you exactly happened in case of one American millionaire of Indian origin. I told him the story of that person, which must have taken 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So while he was leaving, he asked Murthy, can I have Ramesh's account number in the bank? I want to send him some money. So Murthy, I said, yes, you know the number, give it to him. That was the first time I known him. One question. I gave him the story. So he calls me the second day. His business, he's rooted in South Africa, but business all over the world. Is that right?
Mostly Africa, a little bit in Singapore and Dubai.
I see. So he calls me from next day. And he said, look Ramesh, you will receive a remittance from Singapore of 25K American dollars. So I said, you mean 25,000 American dollars? He said, yes. I said, thank you very much. I'll say thank you really when I see the money in the account. I've been a practical banker for 35 years. And the very next day the money was there, which amounted to, in Indian rupees, 13 lakhs. And on which I had to pay tax of 3 lakhs.
What was the story you told? What was the story you told him?
The story I told him was very interesting.
Of the American
Do you remember the story what I told you?
Yes.
Tell them please. As you remember?
Yes. It was about somebody in the construction business
in America.
in America.
A man called Anil Deshpande.
Anil, Anil had run a very successful business with some partners
For 20 years.
in the US, and
One partner.
and was facing trouble. All of a sudden, the partners had a difference of opinion on how to go forward in the business. So Anil was kind of heartbroken and could not understand it, how his partners had approached him and asked him that it's not working and you need to move on. So it was in that context that Anil had come to see Guruji.
No, well, I'll better tell you.
Yeah.
I better tell you. He said 5 days before Anil came here, his partner of 20 years, who did not even have a written agreement, such good friends, trusted friends, comes to him 5 days before he is to leave. And you say, Anil, you are getting, and Anil is the only one who is dealing with it. The other one had lots of other businesses. All that the other fellow did was put in some capital along with Anil. That's all he did. He was the only, but Anil needed that capital. For the other person, quite small. For Anil, a lot of money. So he was very great. So for 20 years, he didn't tell me exactly what part, but maybe even say 2080. Anil was the only worker. His entire responsibility was Anil's. So I presume Anil got 80% and the other fellow, just a sleeping partner, got 20%. For 20 years, no problem. Then as it happened, somebody must have instigated him. The partner comes to Anil 5 days before he leaves, and they said, no, this is not right. I must get more out of this deal than you do. So then Anil came here. He was here for a few days. He listened to what I had to say. Then on the last day, he said, Ramesh, can I have a talk with you for half an hour? So I said, yes, Anil, come any evening. So that evening he told me, look, when I go back, I shall have to face this situation. As soon as I go, I'll have to face this situation. And my partner of 20 years will come to me and we have to discuss this matter. Anil asked me, can you help me? So I said, Anil, I don't know anything about your business. So all I'll tell you, in your case, what I would do, that is all. So I said, in your case, what do you think would be the attitude of your partner? He said, angry. He would be my enemy. He would consider me his enemy. So I said, Anil, what will be your attitude to him? Of course the same thing. We'll have to fight it out. So I said, my attitude to him, in your case exactly, would not be that, because the understanding itself is, you are aware that someone after 20 years doing that seems incredible. You yourself said you couldn't believe it. Someone will have a happy relationship for 20 years suddenly comes and does this. Therefore for me, it is not a partner coming to you. For me, it is a happening which had to happen at that time, at that place, in your situation. So that the two of you have to deal with the happening. I would treat it as a happening. I would not blame and condemn your partner. Honestly, with my heart, I wouldn't. Therefore, if I were in your place, I wouldn't sit discussing this matter with a table between us, so that we sit on two opposite sides of the desk. I would not have a desk in between us. I'll sit without the desk, as if you were my guest at home. and we'll discuss the matter with the clearest notion that I'm not arguing the matter against an enemy. All I can tell you is my attitude to him will be that what has happened is a happening which the two of us have to deal with. For 5 minutes he didn't say anything. Then he was the first one. He said, Ramesh, can you give me your bank account? I would like to send you a small gift. I said, okay, give it to him. Next day, Anil tells me, look, you will receive a large amount of sum from the Reserve Bank of India. He was, I thought you're still here. And I said, you don't even know what's happened to your problem. He said, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And he did send a large sum of money in my account. But at that time, the gift was not taxable. So I did not have to pay anything on what Anil paid it. Then I said, I will be very interested in what happened to you. Oh, yes, Anil, I'll tell you. Anil went back to the state. 3-4 weeks, not a word from him. I assumed he was busy. After that, a telephone call came. And he said, Ramesh, I'll tell you what happened. You must be. I said, yes, I'm very much interested. And his first bit was, Ramesh, would you believe it? That when I sat with him, your words were deeply in my heart. It was not an attitude I took, that it was a happening. It was not an attitude, it was deeply in my heart that was so, it was a happening which could not have happened unless it was a happening over which the partner had no control. I accepted that totally. So he said we sat around this small, in my drawing room. We did not sit in the office. I called an accountant because the accountant knew the figures. So there were just the three of us. The two of us talking on this matter and the accountant for the figures. And he says, Ramesh, would you believe it? We settled the matter most amicably within 20 minutes. We settled the matter amicably within 20 minutes. He said, that is not the point. The point is my attitude to him and the other person's response to it moved my accountant so much that I had to drop the accountant to the airport after that. And for the half an hour ride, my accountant could not stop weeping inconsolably. The impact of that was so much. And his accountant, who heard only 20 minutes of what was happening, had such an impact. So he said, I'm only telling you that the impact of your teaching goes far beyond what you expect. Some accountant, you see. So he said, that is what I wanted to convey to you. Yes. Yes, now go ahead. Now, has this understanding,
Yes.
this has been what, 3 years?
3 years now.
2, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years, yeah.
Has this teaching any effect on your own, business, trading, commerce, whatever
Yes.
you say?
See, in the first instance, I came with a similar problem to Guruji. And in my case, it was a little more complicated because we were about 4 or 5 partners involved, 4 partners involved in the business. So it wasn't a straightforward one-on-one.
Yeah, much more complicated.
But what the teaching did for me was it allowed me to let go and not become the chief. It cut off my involvement to the point that I decided that whatever happened, let it happen.
And you are not going to be a contestant.
Yes, exactly, that is the right word. I didn't want to be a contestant in the process.
They may treat you as a contestant, but
Yes.
you are not
But
going to
I
be
also
a
took the
contestant.
same approach that you are not treating anybody as a rival in the process.
It is a happening
Yes. And
over which no one has any control.
but the conclusion has worked out quite well what happened was one of the partners decided there's no point in continuing. He quit, and in fact he happened to be my own brother. He said, I've waited too long for this, I need to do my own thing. And that allowed the other shareholders, that softened down the other shareholders a little bit. And I said the only way I would continue is because the businesses are spread in diverse countries, in difficult areas. So I said the other shareholders should give equity to the people who work for us, the people who head the operations. So we now have a situation which is a win-win for everybody.
Aye.
Yeah, but the key thing was the letting go for me was the key thing. And with not becoming a contestant myself, the rivalry started. People started seeing less and less of the rivalry in the situation.
And more contribution to the
Yes.
success of the undertaking.
Yes. So today it has moved to a point which is the sort of right approach to the problem.
Aye.
Yeah, look, it's been a wonderful experience coming here. I have always had the good fortune of being introduced to other gurus in my life as well. But to me, what Ramesh teaches can really heal the world. If I had to put it in a single sentence, your teaching can heal the world.
And you know why? Because I do not profess to be a guru. I do not profess to be a guru. Oh, and one thing I forgot about Anil. So the conclusion they decided was they close the business, the construction business. So they understood, finally they decided to close the business. And they closed the business. It happened to be when the construction market, when the housing estate problem was at its top. So after they sold it, this now about a year later, both of them are much richer than they would have been if that had held on.
Yeah. And the other important concept of not getting involved, I just put it so much to use. The other day I was in Dubai, and Dubai is a city where governments are spending trillions of dollars, putting up new things. And as a businessman, it's difficult not to get involved in the phenomenality of what is coming up. And I've seen myself being feverishly trying to get involved in certain sectors, and then at the end of the day, one is able to come back and see the involvement in it and do a kind of cutoff. In the past, it would have been you would have got involved, you would have been into something that then you start questioning, do you
Couldn't
need it?
get out of.
Yes. So that helps me on an everyday basis so much.
Not to get involved.
Yes.
Not to get involved. And there is another side of it, which is also, it works to make life so much easier.
Yes.
And that happened. It happened. I know I'm getting cheated. Maybe a taxi driver, maybe it's a small amount, maybe a larger amount. I know I'm getting cheated. And my wife says, you know you're getting cheated. Why do you allow yourself to be cheated? My wife constantly complains, you know you're good. So it's only because I know that he needs the money more than I do.
Yes.
That's the only, he needs the money more than I do. My wife never understands. That is he needs it more than I do.
In the unfolding of my destiny, that I could meet somebody like Ramesh, I am so grateful for that happening. It's just so beautiful. And when I first picked up a book from a bookstore, these people are either 5,000 years away or they're going to happen 5,000 years from now. It's not for now. And I was so thrilled to know that Ramesh lives in Mumbai, and this is a must be stopover for me from now on. My parents live in Pune, but I stop here every time I come in.
But the first time you asked me that question, how does your concept work in commerce?
Yes.
Have you come here before?
Yes, I came a few times before.
I see.
I used to hear you out and try and let it to sink in.
Without asking any questions.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to intellectually understand the concept. And I must say that that on some days it feels like it hasn't really sunk in at every cellular level, but I'm able to practice it more often than less, and I am relaxed when I do my business now.
So when you're doing business, you are more relaxed.
Absolutely.
Now, does that mean that you are practicing the teaching, or is the teaching happening?
It is happening. It has got to be happening.
When you find something happening,
Yes.
you can't really say.
No, you can't accelerate on it.
And
You
that's
have to just let it.
The beauty of this is you don't have to take that understanding as an instrument
Yes.
to succeed. That is the beauty of
Yes.
it. The understanding functions by itself. Otherwise, it has no value.
Everything is okay.
Even when things go wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, there. Vikram.
I thought about that. I was in Italy, and I called up my wife. She was in England, and I said, "Look," she was my wife then. I said, "Look, Salila, I need either a very, very, very good therapist, or I would like to meet a guru, but it should be the real one." And then she says, "I know the real one." She was in a bookshop with the book of you in her hands.
She happened to be in a bookshop.
That's what happened. She was looking at your book, and there was this picture there. And so I said, "Okay, great, let's go."
And the picture, that is the consciousness speaks.
Yes.
With the,
Yes.
I don't know what happened about that. Everything is happening. Wayne's Japanese friend, he's a photographer. Once he came to his flat and we took some photographs. And he gave me a postcard size photograph. It was with me. We were at a function. And at that function, there was a table. On that table was a book. And I had this copy, postcard size copy in my hand. I wanted to keep it somewhere. And I kept it on that book. And I said, that makes a good cover. And you remember, I told you straight away, I said, makes a good cover. Again, and everything happened. Everything happened. So that was
In fact, I remember once when I was in turmoil and stuff, and I had the chance to speak to him and ask him questions. At some point, after all my he looked at me and he said, "Daniel, see what happens. Just look what happens." And I often think of that. So that often comes back when I'm in trouble. Just see what happens. I mean, what more can you say? Good or bad?
Something always happens. Curiously, I heard that from a woman who is not concerned with spirituality. She is a friend of my sister-in-law, my brother's sister. She is concerned with manufacturing some instruments, measuring instruments. And she was concerned with the Atomic Research Commission. the man in whom she had to deal with him. They met friendly. So she met his wife. He was a well-placed official in a high place. He had a place to live. The company had offered him a place. Then out of nothing, this man decided he wanted to give up the job and go to an ashram. Just that is. So he gave up the job, went to an ashram. And there he died. A natural death. So there was this widow, 2 children in the States. And no salary had stopped. So she had to work out with. And finally she got a notice from the company to vacate the place which was meant for the officials. So my sister-in-law went to her and said, "Now what are you going to do?" And she said, "I don't know. All I know is something always happens." That was that lady. Something always happens. Sometimes it is what I like, sometimes it is I don't, but something always happens. And when I heard that, I how true. Something always happens. That is the ultimate truth.
So then,
does this not mean akarbannayata, yani don't do anything?
No, wait a minute. After that,
So then we came to Bombay, and I knew so much that if you're not meant to meet the Guru, you won't meet him. That I knew, so I was flying and saying, I don't know if I meet him, I don't know if it's going to happen. But when we landed in Bombay, I said, there's a chance I might meet you. And I had no Indian experience, nothing. Salila, yes, she was in India, she was, but I had no Indian experience, so I said, I don't know what. Anyway, then we called up, and then Ramesh said, "Oh, I know a very convenient place you can stay." So he gave us this hotel, and it's very nearby. So we went to this hotel, and there were no windows, no windows. So we came to Satsang, and then we went to the hotel, and there's no window. But then it turned out to be a blessing, because after the satsangs, we were like, so we just went to the hotel and slept the whole afternoon. No disturbance, no light. It was just perfect. So after a while, I discovered, after a year or two, I discovered there was a swimming pool where all the post-satsang debates were happening, and we were trying to get the tourists to bring to learn. So that became a little bit of that. And I never asked. When I came first time, I was terrified, absolutely terrified, that Ramesh would ask me, "Where do you come from?" Whatever, whatever. I said, if he asks me something, I am going to dissolve. I was in terror, absolute terror. And what happened? He didn't ask me anything for 2 years. So after 2 years, I said, "Why isn't he asking?" I really remember that. It was amazing. But I had realized that, of course, my fear was going away, and suddenly we talked, and the few times I really, of course, appreciated a lot some help that I needed. I want to tell one more story. I remember I asked that. I said, "Ramesh, if I want to stop smoking, can I stop smoking?" Here. Then he said, "Daniel, if you are meant to die from cancer, you will die from cancer." That was it. And it happened, really happened, that it happened that I was able to stop smoking after half a year after. And I have a lot of friends who smoke, and we have a lot of problems with that. And I was a chain smoker for my whole life. I started at 14, and I ended up at 2 or 3 packets a day. So, and it went. It just literally went. And what went was the craving. So it wasn't that I stopped, it just went. So I always attributed that to you. I don't know whatever, if that is a concept or not. But
And what do I say about it?
you would say it was meant to happen.
Because that's your destiny.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing can happen unless it's your destiny.
Well, if the impact, you would probably ask if there is an impact. I don't know, Ramesh. When the things that when I get involved, or
Right.
still I get involved like 100%, I find myself being angry, shouting, doing this, sad, whatever. Everything happens the same as before, I would say. But so from that level, if I think when I'm fine, I'm fine. But when I'm not fine, I'm not fine.
Anger arises.
Oh yeah, yes. But what I can say for sure is that every day, I think a thought comes of you or of the teaching, and in whatever situation, and that I know. It's like when you say that the bhajans come for you, there's always something coming. In that sense, it has an impact. Thank you.
Okay, Danya. Yes, sir, you wanted to say something?
What I was
All right,
asking,
go ahead.
does it not mean akarmanna
One moment, one moment. No, look, we sit here. The others can hear you better.
It's all right. I will sit.
One second. Just a moment. Okay.
Does this not mean
No, wait a minute. You are talking about my saying something always happens.
Yes.
It is what I said was if everybody's experience. Something always happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, by this concept,
Yeah.
I feel doing nothing, and that is in Hindi akarmanyata. Don't do anything and sit idle.
Yeah. Now on this.
So that I am confused.
No, there is no confusion. What I am saying is, whether you do something or you don't do something, something happens. And what you consider not doing something is a negative doing. You do something or you do nothing. One is positive doing, the other is negative doing. I do something or I don't do anything. But that is your doing, positive or negative, and it will have its own effect. And its own effect is something always happens.
In my experience,
Yes,
whenever something wrong happens,
yes,
I take it easily that it was to happen.
yes.
So I have stopped doing anything like that. So this is happening in my case.
What is happening?
Take it easy, whatever is happening, let us see and what right or wrong.
Yes, and therefore, whatever is necessary happens without your thinking you are doing anything. Something does happen through this body-mind organism, which brings about a certain result. Previously, you were thinking it was your doing. Now, you are merely witnessing something happening through this body-mind organism. That is all the difference. Previously, you were saying, I was doing it. Now you say, I am not doing it, it happens through me. The result of it is the same, which is something always happens. So, that is everybody's lifetime experience. Something always happens. And that something which happens, sometimes brings me pleasure, sometimes brings me pain, and that is the very essence of daily living. Sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain. Some happening brings sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain. And what that happening is, nobody has any control. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells us, absolutely clearly, Karmanyev adhikaraste. Doing an action is your birthright. Doing an action is your birthright. But that birthright does not include the fruits of your action. Fruits of your action means the result of your action and the consequences of that result. That is not in your control. That is what Krishna says. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Doing whatever you feel like doing is your birthright. But you have no right, that means no control, over the result of your action and the consequence of that action. And thereafter what happens? The society in which you live considers the consequence of the result of your action as your action, judges it as good or bad, rewards you or punishes you. Reward means pleasure, punishment means pain.
But sir, with your concept, I am not doing anything. It is happening everything.
Yeah.
So
whether the pleasure or pain you are having is also a happening.
yes.
Subsequent to your happening. You have not done anything, society hasn't done anything either. What you have done is a happening.
But as you say, mentioned that in Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
Doing whatever, it is my birthright to do anything.
Yes, that I say, that is why I tell you. What do I tell you? Bhagavad Gita says, doing in anything, in any situation is your birthright. What I am telling you is, in any situation, it is your birthright to do whatever you feel you should do.
I cannot do anything because it is happening, everything is happening.
No, you have to do it. Whether you consider it a happening or your action is your business. You have to, in a given situation, you have to do something. Suppose you open the door, somebody stands there with a knife on you. What will you do? Wait for a happening? You will do something, and that will be happening, resulting in another happening. Now I'm an old man, so I open the door. Someone comes at me with a knife. What will I do? My answer frankly can be, I don't know. I don't know. It may be that I don't do anything, I'm shocked, and he puts the knife into me. Or it could well happen that I kick him in the balls. Which happens, I don't know. Because in my younger days I was a bodybuilder. That condition probably still remains. So that is why, you see, anger or in a given situation, the eye sees something, ear sees something, ear hears something, nose smells something, the tongue tastes something, fingers touch something. That reaction, immediate reaction, is always a biological reaction, depending on your genes and conditioning, over which you have no control. And yet, that is a biological, but in a given situation, what happens is not in your control. Therefore, in such a question, 4 times out of 5, someone may run away if he is if his genes and conditioning make him a timid man, 4 times out of 5 in a dangerous situation he may run away. But the 5th time he may not run away, he may offer a fight. Therefore, the biological reaction is an indication, a reflex. But what actually happens is a happening over which nobody has any control. Therefore, there may be a soldier, four families are soldiers, 4 generations of soldiers. He is the 5th generation soldier, going into the army for training. He is waiting, he becomes a lieutenant, he passes through, he becomes a lieutenant. He is waiting for his next battle. He is waiting to show his bravery. The natural reaction would of course be, he would be a brave soldier, fight. But if that is his destiny, what happened may be exactly the opposite. He may run away. Therefore, the genes and the conditioning only tell a tendency. What actually happens at a particular time is not in his control. It is happening over which only his destiny and God's will decide. That is the distinction I make. Biological reaction is a tendency. Actual happening is God's will.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Right. Yes. Tell me when you first came here. All I remember you telling me the first time you came here, you walked out the middle of the talk.
Yes, Guruji. I came to you first time about more than 4 years back, and I was doing a program to do with spirituality, and I was meeting people and seeing who I would have in the program. I came and saw you, and I was here for 15 minutes, and I left. My words were, "What crap."
They won't hear you.
I left saying, "What crap." I could not understand it. I thought I knew it all. So I walked out of here, and I went on, I did my program, forgot about Ramesh Balsekar altogether. 2 years later, or a year and a half later, within 10 days, my whole life has changed, and I'm...
So when you first came here, you were a successful achiever.
I was bulletproof. I was bulletproof.
You were a successful achiever.
Bulletproof was the term that comes to mind, because apart from... It's not that I hadn't faced downfalls in life. I had come out. I had even been through a cocaine addiction, which I walked out first time, when I tried to, within a 2-year very intense addiction. First time I walked out of it. And I was like, I could do anything I wanted. And especially now that I had even found God after coming out of cocaine, I had found a little bit of spirituality had opened up. And I thought that was life from there onwards. I thought that's the way my life would be. And a year and a half later, within 10 days, my marriage is over, which I didn't know was rotting all this time. But my wife wants me out of the house. I get fed up of doing commercials and advertising and films, so I shut my company down. My dog dies. The flat that I used to live in belonged to my wife's uncle, so I don't have a house. And over and above that, my daughter, who's really the focus of my life, is with her mother, and I don't know what's going to happen. These are early days. I was shell-shocked for about 6 months. I didn't even know what hit me. I find myself living in the next lane. There's Anya, who used to come to Guruji. I see his picture there. And even then, nothing really happens. I've seen this guy, and that was it. And I think about 6 days later, I had this burning feeling to come and meet you. I don't know why I wanted to come. I was angry with you because I wanted to come and meet you. So I asked Anya, can I come and meet you? And she said, yeah, you can come anytime, but the thing here is that don't come tomorrow because there's some filming going on and it's not a regular satsang. And I almost attacked her. I said like, what now, you've seen the future? And then I'm saying, she's just reaching out to me, she's being nice to me, why am I attacking? Where is all this coming from? This fire inside. I came here and Guruji, I took the hot seat and I don't think I got off the hot seat for 3 months. almost every day, not every day, but almost every day. At least in every satsang, something I had to come in with. And in the beginning, it was anger, and I was trying to prove you wrong, and throwing all my concepts at you, and just, I don't know. It was hoping you would win. But you said something very interesting. You said the other day that you were trying to make me feel as shitty as you were feeling at that point of time. I think that was kind of true. I wanted the whole world to feel shitty at that point of time. But within 3 months, Guruji, this is what's so special about. Any other guru would have thrown me out. I don't think I would have survived anywhere. In that frame of mind. He just absorbed. Anything that came his way, he just absorbed. He dissolved me. He never once really took me on. He just dissolved me. Then one day I was just sitting around, and after that, and there was very little left to say. Then every once in a while something would come up. I would clarify.
Would you say I was very, very patient with you?
That's the biggest understatement I've ever heard, Guruji.
and would you believe it? My natural reaction, my natural basic reaction, my genes and my conditioning.
So yeah, and that's been the story so far. But Guruji, I'd like to speak about something.
Please.
It's about my relationship with anything holy, anything that signifies God for me, anything that signifies the source. Guruji, of late I'm feeling a lot of bhakti coming up. A lot of bhakti is coming up. I love going to temples. I just love sitting out there. I love the atmosphere. I just love, and I get a feeling that I have to be this place or that place, and I go there. I get onto my bike and I just go.
Similar, that's when you went to Golden Temple.
Yes, Guruji, very similar. And what's becoming, I've always felt this love for you. I felt this affection towards you. I felt this reverence towards you. As much as I know you keep saying this is happening, I'm not doing the talking is happening through me. I go and look at a statue in a temple. What is that? It's just something that is indicating God for me. And for me, Guruji, you are indicating God for me. When I look at you, this is the closest I have gotten to God. Maybe other people have had some other experiences, I don't know. But Guruji, really, with you is the closest for me. If God here, in this manifestation, in these 41 years of my life, this is the closest I've seen.
The only difference is in those images there was no life. In this image there is life.
And it's exactly, and yet
that is all.
And that, instead of making it more special for me, at least in the beginning, it made it less special. Yeah. That you were alive, and that you're not gone, and you're not just a samadhi or something where I can attribute anything. But having you here as the real thing, Guruji, this is such a blessing. It is such a blessing.
Yeah. Okay. Now. Anybody want to say anything? Yes. Yes, Anjali, please. No, it's better here, but that is being recorded. I'm sorry?
I just want to recite a song.
Okay, okay.
It's a song attributed to Guru Nanak, the first Guru of Sikhs.
Yes, yes.
It's in half Hindi, half Punjabi.
Go ahead.
And I'm just going to recite it, not sing it.
You have written it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read it.
Yeah.
A little louder.
Okay. I would have to probably translate it in the best way possible because it's half Hindi, half Punjabi, not my
No,
mother.
I'll tell you what. First you read it as it is.
Yeah.
Then you read it again and translate it.
Okay. It says, ऐसे गुरु को बल बल जाइए.
A bit louder.
ऐसे गुरु को बल बल जाइए, आप मुकुट मोहे तारे. नारायण नरपत नमस्कारे, आप मुकुट मोहे तारे. ऐसे गुरु को बल बल जाइए, आप मुकुट मोहे तारे. कवण 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 गुण कहिए, अंत नहीं किछु पारे, आप मुकत मोहे तारे। लाख 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 किकोरे, कोहे ऐसो विचारे, आप मुकत मोहे तारे। कहे नानक संतन रस ऐ है, चाख गूंगा मुस्काए, आप मुकत मोहे तारे। Basically it says, I celebrate, I cherish, I marvel that Guru who's himself liberated and automatically, naturally liberates me. Then it says, bowing to you, God, my Guru is himself liberated and automatically liberates me. Kavan 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 gun kahiye. Countless qualities in this manifestation. There's no end to deciphering it. Lakh 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 ki kore, lakhs and lakhs and lakhs, even crores. But how many inquire into this? How many have that sense of inquiry? And then it says, Kahe Nanak Santan ras ai hai. Nanak says that what a saint has, the flavor that a saint has, that's something that a mute person can taste but not say. So this is the song.
That you wrote that now, is it?
Huh?
You wrote it now?
Well, this is a song that I hear often. It's attributed to Guru Nanak.
I see.
And I thought it would be apt for your birthday.
Sure. Can you give me that paper?
Yes.
No, not for that, the other one. Yes, so anyone else? No? Yes, come. When you were the oldest, she is almost the youngest. You came yesterday or day before?
Yes, but I was here 10 years ago or so, Ramesh, quite a bit, yes.
Go ahead.
It's been so wonderful hearing Pratima.
Pratima.
Yes, you have such a
Go
good
ahead.
memory. It's been so wonderful hearing all these personal stories of how much you've helped people. But no one's yet just mentioned that the enormous impact you've actually had on the whole world of consciousness through the thousands of people who have been through, and each one you have given that internal happiness, that internal sense of resting with things as they are. It's such a rare gift in this world today that I really feel like you've impacted the world. And no one will forget, the world won't be the same now that you've been here. You've impacted the world with your life, Ramesh, and that's really, it's an honor to know you, and just thank you for humanity, because this world is in difficult times, and I feel like the only way we can really perhaps help our little planet is by more and more people being happy. And you're giving that gift. No? Tell me. No? It's a happening. It's a happening through you. And so thank you, Ramesh.
Now, on that, suppose it goes on, and more people in the world know me, and they say, Ramesh, really, people didn't know it. But when Ramesh was alive, he was another Buddha.
Yes, it will happen, I'm sure.
What would it mean to me? Could it mean anything to me?
But look at your...
And that is what, yesterday, this came last evening, shortly. I'll read it. the whole process of life, impersonal consciousness as the source, is the only reality. All creation is an appearance therein. Everything that happens in the world is a happening according to God's will or cosmic law, through a particular body-mind organism, through which it is supposed to happen, and affects those concerned, for better or for worse, according to the destiny of each individual. The individual entity, the ego, is impersonal consciousness identified with each body-mind organism as a separate entity, so that interhuman relationships could happen as the very basis of life. The ego, the individual entity, is incapable of doing anything, since everything happens according to the will of God or cosmic law. Therefore, no one commits a sin, and no one does a meritorious deed. No one is a good person, no one is an evil person. Everything happens according to God's will or cosmic law. When the body is dead, the connection with the source is broken, and the identified consciousness again becomes the impersonal consciousness. No individual entity is at all concerned in the process of life. Life happens. No one has to worry about anything. No one needs life. All we can do is see the process of life happening. The individual truly is not concerned. And the fact of the matter is, the individual concerns himself the most important thing in the world. And therefore he is unhappy.
So Ramesh, your family, your children, your grandchildren, I believe you now have a
great grandchildren.
Yeah. They will remember, and even if you're gone, they will still be honoring their great grandmother.
Maybe it's their destiny. If I become God, they will become rich. If that is their destiny.
And I'm sure they'll be very grateful, like the rest of us.
That I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything? Ah, yes, you are here, yes.
My whole journey into this.
Your name is?
I'm Santosh.
Santosh. And what do you do in life?
I'm working with a company here in Mumbai.
I see. Software?
No. Different.
You have a job
Yeah.
in Bombay?
Yeah.
All right.
I was already doing some meditations and lot of things. And perhaps I had been seeking simple answers to life, like the causes of success and failure. And I was wandering in self-help gurus. And nothing was satisfying. And then one day accidentally I came across an interview on internet by Ramesh. And that non-doership concept totally demolished my entire structure of what I'm supposed to do. It was a small bug in my computer, like a virus, which kept on working, and I became an intense seeker, not taking anything for granted. And then I read all the different personalities which were supposed to be enlightened. And I comparatively studied and went ahead with Ramesh and his guru Nisargadatta Maharaj. I read I Am That plenty of time. And the unique thing about Ramesh is, I think it's in the entire history of this enlightenment, is that he attacks the concept, or rather the doer, with such a precision, and he's always, everything revolves that everything that indicates whatever he talks, it comes down to the basic thing called you are not a doer. I think after Ashtavakra, anything that so says it so nakedly is Ramesh.
I want to share how I came here 7 years ago, because it was completely not something I intended to do. We had friends from Hong Kong who came down to meet this old man, and they mentioned his name, they mentioned his address, and I told my sister, I have no clue who he is. And then the request came, can you at least drop us there? And I said, on a Sunday morning, no, I don't think so. But still, I mean, we had to be polite to our guests, so we dropped them downstairs and we left. And we said, you find your way back home. A week passed, they went back to Hong Kong, and my sister said, you know, there must be something going on up there. If someone from Hong Kong has come and people from other parts of the world are coming, we must go and take a look. And so I said, yeah, there must be something. And so we went the next Sunday, because that was my only day off. And I went up, and I thought it was a very strange situation, because there was this old man sitting in a chair talking. I had no clue what he was saying. I didn't realize it was that important. And I thought, my God, these people are listening so intently for an hour and a half, and then they are singing bhajans in Marathi. I mean, I was completely zapped. And my sister went back, and I said, I'm going to come back next Sunday just to figure out if I missed the plot, you know. And I did this in May 2000 for 4 or 5 Sundays, till one day I was touching your feet, and you told me, you said, Gautam, you be very careful. If I see you on any more Sundays, this will become your Sunday church. And 7 years of Sundays. People ask me, why do I go there? I don't know. I just love it. It's the same story it is. I just love it. My friends, I used to go to all the nightclubs, come home at 3 in the morning on Saturday night. They'll say, I'm mad waking up at 7 a.m. to go to see this old man. And I kept doing it. And Guruji for 7 years. Sometimes I think, you know, what will I do on Sunday mornings?
Sorry, I can't keep on. What to say? It's been a year I met you, Ramesh. And I can understand what Gautam is.
I'll tell you what, Nadia. You settle down for 3 minutes and let him talk.
Please.
You settle down.
See, my journey which...
tell who you are.
I'm Vivek.
Vivek.
My journey into this, which started in 1964 with the reading of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, eventually brought me to you in some 4 years ago in 2002 or 2002 August. It has been a wonderful journey. There have been no contradictions. I started with Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Swami Vivekananda, Rabindranath Tagore. Then there was my first physical guru with whom I had contact, one Pradhan, J. Krishnamurti, and then I came to you, and finally to Raman Maharshi. And all along it has been beautiful journey. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa said so many things, but one thing which I remember very clearly, he said, go through life, you do whatever you want, but always remember that you are only an instrument. You are an instrument only. You are the engine, he is the engineer. You are the house, he is the dweller. And then when I went on to read Rabindranath Tagore, the very first poem in Gitanjali, where he says that he is like, these are the lines, he says, this little flute of a reed, this little flute of a reed thou hast carried over hills and dales, and hast breathed through it melodies eternally new. This little flute of a reed thou hast carried over hills and dales, and hast breathed through it melodies eternally new. So he says it's just like a flute and he is breathing through it. And in the very next poem he says, it shall be my endure, it shall be my endure to reveal thee in all my actions, because it is thy power which gives me strength to act. So this went on, and when I came to you, because my childhood, it has all along been, we were not so much into rituals, but more a lot of devotion, and so it was all clicking into it, and I just fell into it so beautifully. In my home there was a photo frame where there was a poem, Abhanga, which was there, which is from the age of 6 till for over 30 years, every day it's in front of my eyes. I read it and you may translate it because you will do better of it. The Marathi, Eknath Maharaj, he says, Avadine bhave, Harinama घेसी, तुझी चिंता त्यासी सर्व आहे. First line. Avadine bhave, Harinama घेसी, तुझी चिंता त्यासी सर्व आहे. Shall I translate? You take his name with devotion and joy, and he has your worry at heart. सकळ जीवाचा करीतो सांभाळ, पती लक्ष्मीचा जाणत असे. सकळ जीवाचा करीतो सांभाळ, पती लक्ष्मीचा जाणत असे. He is taking care of everything in the world, from the leaf to the smallest ant. So it is not that he will neglect you, he will not leave you forlorn. Then he says, जैसी स्थिती आहे तैशा परी राहे, कौतुक तू पाहे संचिताचे. This is the crux of what you have been saying. जैसी स्थिति आहे तैशा परी राहे. Whatever position you are placed into it, you stay according to and you watch the unfolding of the destiny, the miracle of the destiny. And एका जनार्दनी भोग प्रारब्धाचा, हरिकृपे त्याचा नाश होय. So this is the poem which have been from the age of 6. We have been reading, and this was all you are teaching. And then from our childhood, we have the concept in here is that if anything good happens to me, if I stand first in an exam and all, anything happens, you attribute it to God out of all humility. You say God's grace. But something goes wrong, there was a tendency to blame ourselves that I did something wrong. But when I came to you and when I heard you, then it becomes so clear that everything is happening. So whether something good or something bad, so that put the life into true balance. And one of the greatest gifts of your teaching has been that the very great clarity that whatever happens in life, whatever is going to happen is happening, everything is predetermined. But by listening to you, by understanding this, it is that the attitude to life, what matters is the attitude to life, that will get changed, and it is not that the event will happen as before, but it's the attitude to the event that will change. So this way it has been all wonderful journey. It's going on.
Now
I'm back to my senses. It's been a year I come to you, Ramesh.
Yeah.
And my heart kept on opening. I'm trying to write you a letter. I'm trying to tell you my feeling of gratitude I have for the teaching. Impossible, every time I try to tell you, like I can see in my letter I'm trying to tell you there's no enough words, and then I hear Wayne saying but there is no words. That's exactly why I can't write you a letter, because there's no words to express the blessing.
Your tears are more than words.
Yes, and I keep on thanking God for meeting you, and I keep on trying to express my love But there's no way to express what it has been to meet you. It's been such a transformation.
No words are necessary, Nadia.
My destiny has brought me to you. Honestly, I've come to Bombay many times, and even knowing that you are here, I mean, I've read your books. I've got your books. I got Maharaj's books, Maharishi's books, and I was surprised to just see you were connected with Gnaneshwar, Ramana Maharishi, Maharaj, and I had your books all along, for many years now, and this trip has really made me my destiny to come and meet you and to be at your birthday here on your 90th birthday. I'm so grateful for that. And the beautiful thing is, I've known all these great masters through books, and now I'm meeting you and I see you never parrot them, you never say a word that they said, and your teachings comes out so beautifully on your own, and it fascinates me. And when I asked you that how is it that you don't even Maharishi, once I asked you about Maharishi, you said you are a Maharishi if you know exactly these teachings, you're a Maharishi yourself. So that really touched me. And it's so fascinating that I've known many other masters, but meeting you was something, it gave me a freedom, because every time I talk about something, it leads me into trouble, and you made me free from all that trouble. I mean, Pishu is free from whatever he do now, because sometime I'll end up in trouble if I say something about quote somebody or do something. And now it seems Pishu's freedom is there. It's such a freedom. I mean, I never realized this freedom was there all the time, and I never realized it. And my grateful, I'm very grateful I met you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You want to say something? Okay. Right.
I would like.
Yes.
I would like to sing for you.
Oh, great! Yes.
I don't know if it will happen, but I
All right.
It's going to happen.
Sit here and sit here and sing. Whether the singing will happen or not, we'll see.
Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, hail thee with the sun above. The clouds of sin and sadness drive the dark of doubt away. Give of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. Freude schöner Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium. Wir betreten freudetrunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Musen streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. The clouds of sin and sadness drive the dark of doubt away. Give of immortal gladness, fill us with the light. Oh, fill us with the light. Oh, fill us with the light of day.
German song.
A German song from Beethoven, and then Beethoven has written it, composed it. It's the only song which I can sing praising God, because all the Christian songs are not so beautiful. From the not from the music, from what they are saying.
Yes. Thank you, Dharma. Yes, sir.
Ramesh,
Yes, Deva.
when I was a young man, and when people were talking about what looks God-like, and then I raised my arm and I said, so, that is his face. And later on I came to Osho, and he was with Osho for 20 years. And there were some points I was sort of disturbed about some of his teaching, but I didn't dare to object because he was a great master. And I thought, well...
But was he open to questions?
Beg your pardon?
Was he not open to questions?
There were some questions open, and he never got an answer.
You did
But
ask?
I didn't get an answer for 20 years with Osho.
Oh.
And then it happened. There's a story connected with it. I just went into the bookshop. It was a weekend. And when I came into the bookshop, I saw a book openly there. It was Consciousness Speaks. And I looked at it, and, but I found it too expensive. And
Consciousness Speak?
Beg your pardon?
Consciousness Speak?
Yeah.
You found it expensive?
Maybe, yeah.
In India?
No, it was in Germany.
In Germany?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Pardon me?
How much is this Consciousness Speak? $15?
No, it's less.
20...
It is very
It
early.
has been 20 marks
Early.
and no, it's less.
Anyway, this was a weekend. And, strangely enough,
It's not expensive enough.
Yeah, it was. And I thought, well, just leave it for the time being. And I went home, and over the weekend, I didn't come to rest. And this book was always in my mind, because I only read a few lines in the beginning, and it sort of fascinated me. And Monday morning, first thing, I went there and bought the book. And that's when the whole journey started.
How long ago was that? How long ago?
It was about 7 years ago.
7 years.
So after 20 years with Osho, the first day I came here, actually when I bought this book and read this book, it made me come here right away. I telephoned with Heine Siegelmann and asked him for your address. And anyway, I bought a ticket and was here within a week. And then, yes, I landed up here eventually. And the very first session with you answered all those unanswered questions while I was with Osho. And this was my great experience.
Just tell me one thing. You did ask these questions to Osho?
Osho wasn't open for direct answering questions. You know, you had to put script in before that, and
he may or may not.
There was never any personal
one-on-one,
face-to-face conversation possible. And so you were talking about those days. I'm here now with you about happiness in daily life, and this is okay. I'm happy, and one day is more happy, other days less happy. But what is the main point for me is the fascination of understanding that behind this objective expression there must be a subject behind it. And that was always my I wondered all my life, what is this this is something, when I said this is the face of God, and I never believed in a personal God. I didn't care, what, how, but that there is something I was interested in to know, to understand, and to find out, and I felt that it must exist, because if there's an object, there must be a subject. And so being with you all those years, I more and more have the feeling of, contentness, and that I want to thank you for.
Thank you, David. Yeah, Murthy.
Guruji, may I say a prayer?
Yes.
Guruji, may I say a prayer?
I'm sorry?
I want to say a prayer, Guruji.
Please, please.
Like you say, I'll sit here only and I just
Yes,
sit here.
yes. Lovely.
No, sorry. Dear Lord, while life's turmoils resolve themselves as my destiny plays itself out, I thank you for this blessing to be able to steal a lifetime of peace while this is happening. Amen.
Thank you.
We just want to sing one bhajan.
I'm sorry?
Dagmar wants to sing a bhajan and we all join. It's Om Namah Shivaya. I
Oh.
try.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Join.
Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah.
प्रपंचाचा दास सुखे करो काम तुझे एक